Welcome to the Leading at the Next Level podcast with Dove Development and Consulting, the show built to provide ongoing support for your leadership journey. So before we jump into today's episode, I want to give you the background, the framework about the whole Leading at the Next Level idea and what it's for. It's really to build that continuity in that leadership journey that you're on to support you ongoing long-term. Now, if you stick with us through the end, I'll offer complimentary access to a digital resource that we've created that's like nothing else I've ever seen, but you got to stick with us to the end to hear how you can get that access for a month and a half at zero cost. So now let's jump into this. We've been doing some really unique conversations with folks that are partnering with us on the upcoming Leadership Legacy Experience on June 13th, 2025. Today, we've got a very close friend, Jeremy Spilman, Market President for Blue Ridge Bank, is in the Harrisonburg area, serves Luray, Shenandoah, the different regions. He'll explain that more, but I'll talk about the relationship that Jeremy and I, the friendship that we've built over the last several years. We've learned that, gosh, our backgrounds are very similar. We worked for Food Line, the grocery store chain. We were working for them at the same time, just different. We were at different high schools, so we were in different stores in different areas, but our backgrounds are similar until it hit college, and Jeremy got really serious and did some cool stuff, and I just went to work, and we won't get into a lot of that today, but it's been fun getting to know Jeremy through our Executive Leadership Elite think tank over the last several years, working closely with a number of the members of his team at Blue Ridge Bank, and really being able to see the level of customer service and support they provide as a local bank. So, Jeremy, do you want to kick it off and talk a little bit about your own professional background and a little bit about your experience in the industry as a whole?
Sure. So after going to Virginia Tech, backing up a little bit, I felt like I really liked JMU when I was in high school, but I wanted to kind of get away. So that's why I decided to go to Virginia Tech. And I've told a couple people recently that, if things were reversed and I was from Blacksburg, I probably would have went to JMU. But in any case, went to Tech and came back to Harrisonburg afterwards. A lot of my friends had, moved to Northern Virginia, but I really liked the Harrisonburg community, and just felt connected, growing up, and wanted to come back and live in a smaller, medium-sized town. So started there, worked a couple of different jobs after college, and then I interviewed for a credit analysis position at Rockingham Heritage Bank, and that was mid-2000s. So got the job there and worked in the back office, just learning about credit on commercial loans for several years. And at that point, we had merged with United Bank, and a couple people had opted for retirement and left a couple voids in our commercial team. So team lead Steve Gordon asked if I would be willing to take on a couple clients in a relationship manager position. So kind of just jumped into that. I've always really enjoyed talking to people and networking and things like that. So it just felt natural, and that's kind of how I got into commercial banking. And I worked for United for about 12 years, and then came to Blue Ridge Bank doing similar position, a little bit higher on the pay scale. And then a couple of years ago, our market president Charlie Martirana had retired, and he recommended me to move into his position. So I've been market president of Blue Ridge Bank for about 3 years now, or 4 years.
Now, Jeremy, one of the things, the title market president comes with authority, and you've got some folks reporting to you and so on and so forth. But one of the things that Cindy and I stress all the time is authority doesn't mean leadership. And the reality is, when you were doing the commercial loans, when you're working with clients and you're serving them, you've still got leadership responsibility. Maybe more importantly, at that point, you've got to earn that leadership with them, because it's not about the authority you have. It's about the way you serve them, the way you give them what they need through that relationship. Now, where I'm going to go here is talk a little bit about that clear purpose for you to take on that leadership responsibility, to move out of the back office and begin really providing folks with the service they need to help them get what they're looking for and so on. And then moving in to taking on a team, and not just leading the folks that you were serving as clients, but also serving the team internally. What gets you out of bed? Why were you willing to do that?
Well, I've kind of internally always been one to put the customer first. And that was one of the reasons why I left United and came to Blue Ridge, because I felt, a smaller community bank, it was easier for me to serve clients with a smaller structure. So, similarly, when moving into the market president position, I wanted us to have kind of establish a culture of customer first mentality. Behind the scenes, there's always things that kind of stretch and pull you in different directions. But specifically, I wanted everyone on the team to kind of have the same focus of putting the customer first. Customers feel like they can trust you, they can build a relationship. They do, letting them know, we can do trying to do whatever we can to help them.
Oh, Jeremy, I mentioned earlier, you've been part of the Executive Leadership Elite think tank that Cindy and I have hosted for a number of years. You've been with us through that for, I'm going to say, probably at least 3, maybe 4 years now. Mm-hmm. And that's not the first time you've been involved in any type of personal leadership development or training. Talk to me a little bit about what really attracted you to getting involved in leadership as a whole, and even with the Executive Leadership Elite think tank with that group of business owners and executives.
Well, the primary focus I thought was just to get better. But for your group specifically, there's more of a game plan on this is how we do it kind of thing. It's structured in a way that kind of suits my personality. It's a smaller group. It's not, 50 people where you don't really feel like you have an opportunity to speak up frequently. And in this group, I feel like, my voice is heard pretty frequently every session. So.
Yeah, and I'll say on that note, for Cindy and I, it's been really fun because we've developed some really great relationships with some really great people in that process. And that's something we've tried to be intentional about designing for you coming in. I mean, you weren't the first year, you were maybe coming in year 3 or 4 as we had the group going. Mm-hmm. But how can we create those relationships, not just with us, but across the whole group, that we watch everybody get better through the process? And I feel like you're seeing
that's the fun part of it, really, is you learn leadership skills and how to, better yourself, but you're also making those connections too.
Now, you mentioned that being a small group. Over the last several years, you and the team of Blue Ridge Bank have partnered with us on the Live to Lead Harrisonburg event that we've hosted since 2015. We're making that transition to a different event, the Leadership Legacy Experience, where it'll be 3 or 4x what we've done historically, or a different venue and so on. Talk to me a little bit about the juice from the squeeze of the partnering on the Live to Lead Experience and now moving into this different event at the Atlantic Union Bank Center on June 13th.
Well, just speaking to the team before and after the last couple events that we've all done, I just feel like they get a lot of value from your sessions and programs. There's always something that they can take with them back to, the job and kind of apply it to their, if not their everyday life, at least, 8 to 5 or 8 to 7, when they're working, they can use it pretty daily. Either it's communication skills or leadership or, whatever.
Yeah, the partnership is something that we deeply appreciate because, I mean, we never say the word sponsorship in what we put together with the events. We work hard to develop the partnerships with, gosh, for this year, close to 40 companies already, and there's a couple more that are coming on as we wrap that up. What's been the attraction? Because you've been intentional the last several years about, hey, there's certain things that I can't do in the community, but this is a partnership that I want to make sure we maintain.
Yeah, I just think it's an event that generates some publicity, and it's one where I want Blue Ridge Bank to be associated with it in the Valley. Just again, the clear purpose for the event is to build stronger leaders, and that's something I want us to be a part of.
Well, we never take that for granted. It's something that we thrive on, and we want to push visibility to those organizations. So it really brings me to the next question. What would you like the community to know about Blue Ridge Bank that they maybe don't know, they don't recognize, and one of those big values that might be that hidden gem, if you will?
Yeah. I feel most banks are fairly similar. Our purpose is to be a trusted partner of choice in helping the community make financial decisions, helping them with their goals. A lot of people don't know the history of Blue Ridge Bank. I find when I'm talking to people in the community, they're like, it's just another bank. But, it started in the Valley in 1893, and here we are in 2025. It's, a different name. It used to be Page Valley Bank. Now it's Blue Ridge Bank, but again, still the same bank. And I, explained how we've kind of expanded over the last 5 or 10 years, pretty much all over the state. And I think folks want to be involved with a bank that's increasing its footprint rather than the opposite. So it's a bank that's grown. We'll continue to grow. We'll continue to be community focused.
Yeah, and that kind of walks into the next question too. Talk about maybe a successful project or a campaign or something community involved that you specifically have been a part of, or even Blue Ridge Bank as a whole has really helped lead to impact the community and even the banking industry.
Yeah, well, last year specifically, our big project, our campaign was just our deposit campaign. So we really focused on, increasing deposits, which, a lot of other banks probably were doing similar things based on the banking industry as a whole. And, there were some uncertainty with some of the banks closing a couple of years ago, Signature Bank and, Silicon Valley had struggled and they didn't have enough liquidity, things like that. So that was one of the things that we kind of identified as a target area last year at the beginning of the year. Hey, we need to increase our deposit core. So we had a pretty big campaign last year. We were able to exceed our goal in just 12 months. I mean, it was impressive, but it took everyone kind of participating and kind of jumping in, whether it was the tellers, our commercial staff, branch manager. We all contributed to the success of the program.
Yeah. And knowing some of the folks that were part of that made those deposits, they got some pretty substantial return on just account money that was in there, and it makes an impact for the folks. It was a true service you were providing. That was pretty cool.
Sure.
Now, you personally, you've been very, very active in Rotary for a long time, and talk about that a little bit too, about why you do that, why it's something that as an organization, Blue Ridge supports you with, and where that connection is, because that purpose, why we do what we do, is a big part of what Cindy and I are working to with that event coming up.
Yeah, Rotary is an organization I've been involved with for 16 years. And, like others, I was invited to participate in it. And, just attending the meetings and so forth, you're a Rotary Club member. But once you go beyond that and realize the scale of Rotary internationally, and, kind of gives you a drive to make the community better, which is similar to our goals here at Blue Ridge Bank. But again, once you get involved under, from a district scale, and I've done those positions, I've been assistant governor in Rotary, I've served as, right now I'm serving as a district membership chair, or will be. So we're now always looking to just include more people and grow our footprint. And the thing about Rotary is, we're doing all these things and it's fun. So that's what really keeps me going, to answer your question.
Yeah. Well, and here's the reality. You mentioned growing the membership, serving more people. We can't do it by ourselves, right? And that's the power of what I see you and Andy and Lydia and the folks that we know personally that we've got good relationships with that are very involved in Rotary. And the same thing said, the reason Cindy and I work so hard for those partnerships is we can put on a pretty good event, but we can't reach the people we want to without strong partnerships to be able to have that reach farther than just us. So it matters. Now, let's build off that a little bit and talk about where your individual purpose, where you enjoy the people and add value and making a difference in other people's lives, how that matches up individually for you with the purpose of Blue Ridge Bank and what you see the executive team and the leadership team throughout the whole organization really trying to work to achieve.
Yeah. Well, again, I mentioned before, just, the culture and putting customer first. As I mentioned, Blue Ridge Bank, our purpose is to be a trusted partner of choice in the community for all their financial decisions. And, something I'll, really feel proud about is when customers come to me and, rely on me for their opinion. They're like, what do you think about this? And, I feel guilty and I'm not really able to give some of my opinions sometimes, but I do kind of give them my opinion, hey, this is what I would recommend. Don't make this decision just based on what I'm saying, but, you certainly don't want them walking into a bad situation, buying a property, for instance, that they can't afford, or, if there's some other reason why they shouldn't be proceeding, if maybe they don't have enough liquidity, and they're putting all their cash into this one basket, for instance. It might be something I would recommend against doing. So.
And it's fulfilling to know that you're making that impact and so on. So I'm going to take it from, we're getting a little bit older. You've got less gray than me, but we're the same age and so on. What kind of advice would you give to somebody that's a young professional and they're looking to really advance their career and take on more responsibility, more of a leadership role as they move forward?
Yeah. First, always be honest with clients and associates that you're dealing with. If, for instance, if you're, they come to you and say, hey, this is what I'm looking at, what can you offer? And if you can't offer what they want, it's best just to be clear up front and say, here's why I can't do it, or this doesn't fit in our footprint. So I think they'll appreciate you in the long run if you're honest with them up front. Second one is just, get to know your community and the other leaders that are involved in it. And the third is, seek out as many opportunities as possible so you can learn the new things and meet new people. And I've done a lot of that, whether it's Rotary or chamber events. I'm always trying to go out and just meet new people and learn new things. And we do that in the elite, leadership think tank too.
So how many of those things are convenient and just easy to do, fits in your natural everyday lifestyle?
I mean, it's not terribly easy, but I am pretty personal, so I find a way to make some of it work.
Yeah. The reality is sometimes it's hard though, right? I mean, you've got to, there's other responsibilities, there's other things that are ticking, but you've got to make time to make those things work. It's just part of the process. So,
right.
What would you share? Is there anything else? We've kind of worked through the list of questions that we talked about in advance, but what are the other things that you'd like to share? So if I'm hearing this, if I'm watching live, if I'm hearing it on the podcast, if I'm seeing it in the digital resource that's put together after the Leadership Legacy Experience, what would you like to make sure anybody watching this learns, takes away from what you're sharing today?
I don't know about things I've learned. I am very excited about being a participant in the this year's Legacy Experience. Just from having, going to other Dove development events, live to learn or live to lead, things like that. I see the larger scale and pulling more people involved, getting more people involved in this year's event. It just seems like, a natural fit and something I would want to be involved in.
Yeah, we're working hard. I had no idea when we started talking about this almost a year ago now about doing this event, how the scale would change over time. We were initially looking at 300-400 people, and now we're looking at 500, 600, 700, 800 people and so on. And it's consuming just about every waking hour that Cindy and I don't have dedicated somewhere else, which hasn't been a lot, but it means we're not sleeping much. We're thrilled with the way it's going. More importantly, we're thrilled about the way we can help people latch on to that clear purpose that drives them, because it's not just about punching a clock. It's not just about working through the motions. It's really about, hey, why do we get out of bed? Why do we want to exceed expectations and really serve other people? Now, the last thing, and again, unscripted, you got a chance to read the whole premise of this event coming up is based on the book I published maybe a month ago at this point, Leading with Clear Purpose. You were one of the first readers. You even provided a segment that I used in the opening couple pages of the book. What would you like to share around the idea of establishing and latching on to that purpose to really make an impact on other people?
Well, again, from the book, it was easy for me to read, specifically the way you word some things. It's, you don't use a lot of big words that it's hard to understand. And I felt like there was a connection there because I'm not a big reader. And I just like the simplicity of the way not only the book goes, but the way you're, the elite leadership think tank, the way your teaching style, I guess, for lack of a better term, and hopefully the way this experience will go in the summer. Not sure if that answers your question, kind of. Or...
Yeah. No, it was. I appreciate that. I feel like you baited me a little bit there by not using a lot of big words. Shit, Jeremy, I don't know a lot of big words. I can't use a lot of big words. But the reality is, the goal was how to be really, really simple. with the exception of maybe poor grammar and so on and so forth. But it's hopefully it's relatable and it gives people that piece to take away from. And that's what we're hoping to do. That's what I see you do. That's what I see the team that we interact with when we're in the branch do. It's just been fun. How do we take care of other people in a way that's connectable, that's relatable, people can latch on to? Well, anything else you'd like to share before we pull it to a close?
No, I think we talked about it all.
Okay. Jeremy, thanks for taking the time. You've got a crazy busy schedule. We've chatted about that through text and messages over the last several days leading up to this. Thanks for taking the time to do it. If you're catching this before the event, be sure to seek out Jeremy and his team from Blue Ridge at the event, or even reach out to them in advance. If it's after the event, gosh, hopefully there will be some resources wherever you're accessing this that you can download or dig in and learn more about the team. We appreciate the relationship we've got with them, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Now, the last thing is that special offer. If you have interest in continuing education credit or just going deeper into some different tools for that ongoing leadership journey, send us an email at admin@dove-development.net, and I'll hook you up with a 45-day all-access trial, no cost, to kick the tires and kind of see what the digital course, but also the live sessions that we do in that course are all about. Look forward to seeing you soon. Again, Jeremy, thanks for the time. Make it a great day, guys. God bless.